Making sequels that are able to recreate the magic of a first film is almost impossible. It's hard. When Steven Spielberg made Jurassic Park in 1993, it was a massive success. It blew a lot of people's minds because it showed us dinosaurs in a way that no film ever had. In fact, when adjusted for inflation, it's the 16th highest grossing film of all time. It had great characters, great effects, and made us terrified to go back in the water. Wait, no, that's the other one. The theme of that film was don't play God. Seriously, don't do it. Don't mess with nature because it will spit viscous goo in your face and magically spread 400% just by turning around. Yeah, that continuity bothered me even when I was 11. Also, it'll eat you. I do wonder if there even would have been a sequel if Michael Crichton hadn't written a second Jurassic Park novel. A book they didn't really use anyway because it wasn't so good. Seriously, it was kind of like Chris O'Donnell in The Chamber bad. What, was that too deep a cut? The problem is, you can't show us dinosaurs a second time and expect it to have anywhere near the same amount of impact. I think of it kind of like Age of Ultron. We've already seen the Avengers from the first time around, and if you've seen the new movie, you know a lot of that impact is pretty much gone. The Lost World is a forgotten movie to a lot of people, but not to me. Whereas Jurassic Park was a film mainly seen through the eyes of Alan Grant, vibrant, colorful, and celebratory awe of the creatures Hammond created, The Lost World is seen through the eyes of Ian Malcolm. It's far less colorful, composed of a drab palette, often overcast, and genuinely goes out of its way to remove the sheen from Jurassic Park. It's a grisly film. How grisly, you ask?
Daddy, you've got to come see this! I found something!
The movie opens with a little girl being torn apart by these little dinosaurs called compies. It also has one of my favorite edits of all time. Our first glimpse of dinosaurs in the movie is doing it before you can, yawning. Just showing you dinosaurs is no longer impressive, and this movie knows it. Also, a little girl got turned into a turkey sandwich or something.
But Ian motherfucking Malcolm don't give no f***.
I loved Malcolm in the first film, and this one really lets him shine. Pretty much every line Jeff Goldblum has is classic Jeff. Sundays on NBC, classic Jeff.
No, buddy, I'm not making the same mistakes again.
No, you're making all new ones.
Hammond's check cleared. Or I wouldn't be going on this wild goose chase.
Where you're going is the only place in the world where the geese chase you.
It's a high hide. A high hide. You know, you go up and you hide. High. Goes up to where the trees are and keeps the researchers out of harm's way.
Actually, it'd put him in a very convenient biting height.
Sarah! 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 Sarah Harding!
How many Sarahs do you think are on this island?
Sarah!
The setup for this movie is, at least to me, as strong as the first one. The island from the first film, the one with the theme park, wasn't the only one with dinosaurs. There was a second island, Site B, where dinosaurs were bred and cared for before being brought to the island. John Hammond puts together an expedition of people to document the life that has survived in the 4 years since the incident on Isla Nublar. Before Malcolm has a chance to say no to going back, Hammond reveals that he's already sent Ian's girlfriend to the island. Yup, he's learned nothing since last time and is still actively pretending to be clueless while he manipulates people to his own end.
Not cool, Attenborough.
Bros before dinos, man.
Las cinco muertes. 5 deaths.
Yeah, no one could have put that one together without that heroic translation, Vince. Now on Isla Sorna, the island where both the Lost World and the happy third one take place, things get pretty bad for Malcolm pretty quickly. And since Hammonds don't fall far from each other on the dickhole tree, his nephew now runs InGen, and InGen sends a massive expedition to the island to begin trapping dinosaurs to bring back to the mainland. Those are the stakes of the film. It's no longer about surviving a malfunctioning park, it's about preventing the death of what is potentially hundreds or thousands if the dinos reach the mainland. There's so much to love in this movie. The scene where the armored trailer gets attacked is one of the greatest directed, shot, and edited action sequences of all time, at least to me.
Hang on, this is gonna be bad.
It also shows us, yet again, how quickly nature absolutely destroys technology. It also shows us why Vince Vaughn shouldn't go grabbing T-Rex babies all willy-nilly. You'd think they wouldn't want that back? They're big, terrifying monsters. They're gonna eat all of your faces. The adult T-Rexes show up, and the movie gets legitimately terrifying. Hey, sorry, we stole your kid, let's be friends, okay, I love you, goodbye. Spielberg is at the top of his game in this movie. The sequence is just staggering, constantly using long shots cut with rack focus shots to continually increase the tension over the course of the scene. Everything escalates. They're being pushed over the cliff, the glass is breaking, and Nick needs to reach the satellite phone before
Hands up!
And this isn't the only amazing action sequence in the film. There's the scene where the Raptors stalk after the expedition party through the tall grass, picking them off one by one before revealing their locations. Injun's introduction is rad as hell. He rides a dirt bike under a brachiosaur. He rides a dirt bike under a brachiosaur. In another awesome sequence, a T-Rex attacks an entire camp, silently retconning that notion from the first film that a Rex can't see if you don't move, visual acuity based on movement. So they can, and they'll eat you.
Animal style.
And since one of the strongest aspects of the first film was the characters, I think the sequel added a lot of interesting new people to the franchise, albeit more as real people and less broad strokes and caricatures. Obviously, we get new Malcolm. He's not the same as last time around. He's been labeled a liar, a crackpot, and a fool because he spoke out against what happened in the first part. But just like the first movie, he's actually the voice of reason at the center of it. He's always against the idea of using dinosaurs in a theme park, often seeing through the starry-eyed wonder of everyone around him.
Oh, yeah. That's how it always starts. But then later there's running and screaming.
He really hasn't altered his stance much in that regard. And then we have Julianne Moore playing Sarah Harding, a Diane Fossey-like paleontologist who can't turn down an opportunity like this. She's a great foil for Malcolm because she calls him out on practically everything, including fatherhood. And speaking of fatherhood, the weakest part of the film was shoehorning in Malcolm's daughter Kelly, whose only major character trait is gymnastics. I'm not talking about the scene yet! The West Wing's Richard Schiff plays the excellent Eddie Carr. Hey, wait a minute, he dies in the car. That's like ironic because Jesus Christ! Vince Vaughn, fresh off a Swingers success, plays Nick Van Owen, pseudo-activist and Site B's Plan B. In the event that InGen begins achieving their goal of capturing dinosaurs and trying to take them off the island, Van Owen's like, nope, sorry.
Triceratops to the wall, motherfucker.
There's also the fantastic Pete Postlethwaite, the guy from all the movies. He plays Roland Tembo, a hunter that has hunted every animal on the planet and desperately wants to hunt a T-Rex, something he actually succeeds at. This character is more important to the plot than almost any other. He takes the baby T-Rex originally, which leads to the trailer scene and Eddie's death. He also ultimately does capture a T-Rex, which leads to the climax where the T-Rex runs roughshod over San Diego. Okay, time out. Before we say, tut-tut, that scene turns the franchise into a paste-eating garbage movie, there's something culturally relevant to Spielberg's decision here. All the way back in 1926, there was a movie called The Lost World based on the book of the same name by Arthur Conan Doyle, aka the creator of Sherlock Holmes. At the end of the film, they managed to get a Brachiosaurus back to mainland London, but it escapes and terrorizes the city. Spielberg is using his sequel to pay homage to greats that came before him. It also features the best Malcolm line in the whole damn movie.
When the adult sees that it's us, once again with his baby, isn't it going to be like, you?
So before you tear it down because of the San Diego ending, maybe give it another viewing and see if you still feel the same way about it. I think after Jurassic Park 3, a lot of people might look at this movie quite differently than that bland, joyless, soulless albatross of fart-eating hot monkey shit. The dinosaur eats the phone and the dinosaur is ringing. No, Jurassic Park 3, no. Movie's goddamn awful. I'll take this movie any day of the week over that one. But there is that other scene. And I can't explain it away. Since 1997, for 18 years, this scene has bothered me. It still haunts me to this day. Like a shadow in the rain, it cannot be washed away. I've tried to explain it away in my head as if 15 seconds of screen time can tarnish a film to such a degree that it changes people's minds about it. But no words of mine can fix this. In the rain, I can hear this film look up and shout, "Save me." And I whisper, "No." Kelly's one and only character trait is that she was on the gymnastics team until they cut her from it, which her dad didn't know.
Stuff, you got your gymnastics competition. You've been training for that for months.
Gymnastics? I scrubbed out, Dad. I got cut from the team. Thanks for knowing.
And points for correctly reincorporating this joke.
The school cut you from the team?
But there's two really massive problems here, and I'll try to explain just why this 15 seconds of screen time is so damaging to the movie as a whole. 1. This is our introduction to Kelly, and her behavior does not endear us to her character.
Gymnastics? I scrubbed out, Dad. I got cut from the team. Thanks for knowing.
In fact, it does the opposite. When a character does not tell another character something, but reacts to them not knowing it with such bratty entitlement, it makes us dislike them. On top of that, she's doing it to Malcolm, who the audience already likes. The next time we see Kelly, she's somehow stowed away in the camper, effectively undercutting the stark realism of the rest of the film. But she's making a mess and offering up some Leave It to Beaver gee shucks level of aren't kids just the darndest? By the time we even get to the gymnastics scene, she already represents the flaws of this movie to the audience. The one thing you wish wasn't there. The kids worked in the first movie because Alan Grant wasn't ready to become a father. It was a tertiary plot. It worked. It also doesn't hurt that we were scared for that entire movie that these kids were gonna get f***ed by the Raptors. Which brings me to point 2. This scene totally demystifies the Raptors. Up to this point in the franchise, no one other than a T-Rex had ever killed a raptor. Not Muldoon, not Sattler, not Grant, nobody. This is impossible to swallow for an audience. That this character, who we do not care about. In fact, I think a lot of us were actively hoping that the raptor, well, here's what would have actually happened in this universe. Here I go, gonna use gymnastics to save us all.
I'm a dinosaur.
So the next time you watch this movie, and you should definitely check it out again because it's awesome, just imagine that the child got eaten by the most lethal killing machine in the movie. You know, like Steven Spielberg used to do.